tomorrow.
It's not really so, I mean, I'm the only rapper on it, but to me it's a special project. I consider it the same way EMC was and A&E was. I want to do projects like this that are collaborative projects, you know what I mean? So my fifth solo album, Long Hot Summer, in my mind is the last solo album, but then I'm going to kind of come up with new ways to still put out music under different, with kind of different twists on it, you know, different collaboration projects. I call them special projects, and let's see how far I can stretch that envelope of special projects, how many different things I can come up with. Honestly, they just came across my plate. Like a friend of mine, he had these Special Herbs beats that he was playing in his car, and he asked me, you know, well, I asked him, like, you know, where'd you get those? He told me, I asked him to burn me a copy, and I just drove around just listening to instrumentals. Because I don't really listen to the radio a lot in New York. It gets really typical stuff. So I started listening to these instrumentals, and the more I drove around listening to them, the more ideas I started to get for lyrics and for songs. And I just decided to, you know, do a mixtape. The original idea was for it to just be a mixtape. And it wasn't until Fat Beats Records got involved and wanted to make it an official release that I started to treat it more like an album and really start bringing the songs together and the album together as a real feature commercial release. I mean, I didn't know as much as his diehard fans, but I knew about KMD. I knew it was Zeph Love X. I knew a lot. I had a few of his songs in my iPod that I play. I knew that he was an ill MC, and I knew that his beats were a little strange, a little quirky. Some of them were a little off kilter, and that's kind of what I liked about it. I wanted to challenge myself to see if I could, you know, flow over some unusual type of beats. You know, one of the songs on the album, "Slow Down," is a typical, you know, unexpected beat that slows down as it goes and almost stops and it starts again. You know, to me those are kind of like challenging beats. Can I come up with a song and rap to this beat that's pretty fast and then slows all the way down? And so I looked at it as a challenge to take on, you know, his production and try to see if I could come up with, you know, some nice songs. Having drove around with the beats for a while, I kind of knew which beats I wanted to record to. I knew, you know, which ones I wanted to write to. And then as I started to write the songs, I started to visualize what I wanted the album to be about. And I realized that I wanted it to be about my childhood, and I wanted to dedicate it to my mother and reach back to the time when I was a young kid growing up, you know, with her around the house, and make the album kind of take place in that time frame, 1970, you know, 3, 4, somewhere in there. And so that was the direction I decided to go. And once it started to take shape, you know, I did a few of the songs, and I started to figure out what the skits were going to be and what the interludes were going to be, and then it was just easier. It just created itself from there. The only input Doom had was his verse. He rapped a song called "Think I Am," featuring him and Big Daddy Kane. But he didn't really. He heard through the grapevine that I was doing this record because I've been talking about it on Twitter for over a year. So the fans have been talking about it. I guess it got back to him, but he actually didn't hear the record until we had a show together in France at the Montreux Jazz Festival. Went to his hotel room, and I played him the whole album from beginning to end. And he loved it. He was blown away by it. And from that night, he decided to rap on one of the songs. He just didn't get it done. It took him a while to deliver it. You know, I handed the album in. It was done in October. It was ready to go. We just needed his verse, and I handed it in and said, you know, we may not get this verse, so let's just go. You know, because I wanted it to come out for Christmas, but the Fat Beats wanted to wait, and so we waited until March, until the verse was delivered. Right, like we didn't get in the studio together. We haven't really, like, you know, combined minds. You know, who knows what could happen if we really put our minds together. Maybe we'll see maybe one day. I think for me it's been the fact that I've put out records kind of in different decades, you know. My first record came out in 1990, album, and then, I had some couple albums in the 90s, and then my next album came out in 2001. And when Disposable Arts came out in '01, it kind of caught a new batch of hip hop fans that were like in high school that probably didn't know anything about the first 3 albums. Like Disposable Arts was their first introduction to Masta Ace, but they were 15, 16, 17, 18 years old. And usually when you're that age and you get put onto an album and you love it, you stay with that artist. You like, man, that's my album. I love that dude. And so those people followed me up to, and in 2004, I dropped A Long Hot Summer, and then there was another group of people that were around 15, 16, 17, 18 years old that were like, they discovered me. They probably didn't even know anything about Disposable Arts, but they discovered me, and those people have been rocking with me for the last 10 years plus.